Listen to the Vibes, hosted by Coyote Night. Listen in for some positivity and good times. The views and opinions of our guests may not necessarily reflect those of the host or the Vibes broadcast network. Listener discretion is advised.
Well, welcome everyone to another episode of Listen to the Vibes. I have here Miss Chelsea Jurkiewicz.
Hi.
I said that right?
Yeah, you did. You did good.
Yes, I did
Better
it.
than a lot of people. Some people get my first name wrong, which is like really funny. They're like, "Is it Chelsea?" I'm like, "No, like that's not how you spell C." Like, it's just funny. But yeah, good job.
Well, we're going to get to know Chelsea today, and whatever it is she wants to talk about, we're going to talk about. So let's start off. Where are you from? Where you grew up? All that good stuff.
Well, I'm from Salt Lake City, Utah, and it's awesome. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about that because that's where I'm from. That's where I grew up. But yeah, it's a great city, and if you haven't been there, you should.
Well, that's definitely on my bucket list. I want to go visit. So what's great out there? Tell me what I need to see when I come out there.
Well, there's an amusement park that's like, it's not in Salt Lake, but it's in like Farmington, which is like, I don't know, like half an hour or something from Salt Lake. It's called Lagoon, and that's what I say, like, because people ask that a lot, like, oh, what should I do when I'm in Salt Lake? And I always like tell them about that because it's like super cool. It's really fun. Like, I get motion sick like super easily, so I can't go on like a lot of the rides like in a row or anything. But it's still like super fun, and they have like, besides the rides, they have like this little thing called Pioneer Village, and it's like a little kind of old-fashioned like town thing, and they have little like museums with like old-fashioned dolls and stuff like that, and that's cool. And also there's this hotel called the Grand America Hotel, and like you just think it's like a regular hotel, but it's like a mall in there. It's like the fanciest place I've like ever seen, and they have like really cool like little bakeries and like a toy store and stuff in there. And I just like go in there all the time, and I bring like all these different people. It's like really funny because I feel like a lot of people that know me feel like I took them there, and it's like this like special thing that we have. Like, remember that time we went there? And I feel like a lot of people like don't know that like I take almost everybody I know there. but yeah, you should see that. And yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff. Yeah, just like downtown Salt Lake is, I feel like, really unique, and it's very beautiful like any time of the year.
Are you near the Salt Flats?
Kind of. I think they're like an hour and a half or so away. I'm not really sure. I don't really like go out that way that often, but they're like, they look super cool. Like, I need to go out there sometime because I really like that. I don't know, it looks like another planet or something. It's just like a mirror or something, like the ground.
Okay. So what do you like to do?
Well, it's like so weird, like basic questions. This is like so different than any other like interview. I like, well, besides like acting and stuff, I like singing and like music and stuff. I'm learning how to play the piano, and I'm like starting to write songs and stuff, and that's a lot more work than you like ever would expect. But I'm writing a song called Starlight right now, and I'm writing another one called Purple Stars. The next one's not gonna have the word stars in the title, but those both do. So that's fun. I like to ice skate, and what else do I like? I like to make word art, which is like you draw a word like super fancy and kind of like decorate it and stuff. I like to make jewelry, and I used to dance. I used to be on like dance teams and stuff, but I kind of stopped that because I never liked the like culture of it, because like everybody's really mean and stuff.
Oh.
Like other dancers are like really mean a lot of the time, and so I like don't really do that anymore, but I keep up the like flexibility and stuff because I think that's just like cool to be able to do the splits and stuff. Like when I was little, I have these little journals, because I always liked the little journals where you write, like you like fill in the blanks and stuff, like what's your like dream, or what's your like, I don't know, favorite, like whatever, it's like stuff to fill out. And so when I was little, I had this like journal, and it was like, what do you like hope to do in the future? And one of them was just like to do the splits, because I just thought it would be super cool to just be like walking along and then just suddenly like do the splits, which isn't really how it works. I know now, because I mean, you have to like stretch first and stuff, but like it is like possible. And so sometimes I am just like walking along and then do the splits just because like I always wanted to do that. So I keep that up. But yeah.
I have a son that was on the dance team at his high school,
Yeah.
and I'll have to send you the video of him doing the splits. It makes me cringe when I watch it because, like, oh, how can you do that?
It was really funny because I was on the set of this movie I was in called Abigail Hunting, and I was like laying on the floor for this one scene, and because I was like getting dragged by the ghost, and it was just kind of between takes, and I like put up my leg like above my head just to like freak people out, just like put my leg like all the way up there as I was like laying on the ground, and everybody just be like, yeah. And then I did it with both legs just to show them my flexibility. But they were like, they thought it was like super weird. And then the DP was like, this is an X-rated movie now. And I was like, I have pants on, like it's fine. It's not like I had a dress or something, but they were like, oh, it's an X-rated movie. And I'm like, that's not the goal of this. I was just trying to show off my flexibility, but it was funny.
Yeah, I actually saw that movie. It was I really enjoyed it. Not just pandering. I actually enjoyed it.
That's good.
But what did it take to prepare for a role like that? Because I mean,
that was really difficult for sure. That I feel like a lot of people kind of go through like a time in their life where you don't feel like you have things like under control, and you kind of feel like lost in the world kind of thing. I mean, I hope a lot of people have that, because I definitely had that. And so that was like, during the making of that was kind of like my period of like, I don't really know like where to go in the world kind of thing. Because I have a very rare mental disorder called psychasthenia, and it was like super out of control at that time. And I didn't really know like how to handle it and stuff back then and stuff. And I'm like doing a lot better with it now. I've made a lot of progress, which I'm like excited about. But it was like super out of control and stuff. And like, I was just kind of, I was just, you know, like I was just at the age where you're just like, I don't know what to do. And so it was really hard to like film that. And I really like, I did not like filming that, but it was good because I got a lot out of it. Like it came out earlier this year and it did like super well, and it got like really famous actually, and got to #1 on Amazon and all that stuff. And so like it's given me a lot of things, because it's like, it's just very like surreal to have this like fame and stuff. I've like never experienced that before. And now I've been getting a lot of like movie offers without auditioning and stuff like that, because people see that and they're like, oh, do you want to be in my movie? And like, so I feel like it just gave me a lot of confidence, like having that come out and being like, oh, it's me, you know, like, I feel like when stuff like that happens to you, you're either like get more insecure or like more confident. And I like definitely got more confident. And so it's given me so much stuff now that it's like come out. And so it's like, at first when I was filming it, I was like really upset because I thought I like missed out on that experience, because I felt like if it had come at like a better like time of my life, I could have like had more fun and stuff on the set. And I felt like I missed out on like the fun that I could have had there. But now that like I've gotten so much from it, it's like I don't even care, because I mean that was just like, you know, like this certain like amount of time, but the things that it's given me are like forever, you know. So it's fine, like it's all good. And it was also hard because I did a feature film in a different state like very, very soon before that. So I literally went like right from this other feature film like into that one, and I was the lead in both of them, and I was like, so like don't do that, like actors, like don't do that, don't do 2 in a row. But yeah, it was really, really hard, but I'm glad you liked it, and I'm glad that it's like been able to like make a lot of my dreams like come true now that it's come out, so that's good.
Yeah, it's hard nowadays because so many scary movies, horror movies are just kind of the same old, and it was kind of a refreshing change, to be honest with you. So
that's good.
That's why I enjoyed it. But do you mind me asking about your disorder?
No, I'm very open about it. It's called psychasthenia. It's like very, very rare. I think there's only like literally like a few hundred people in the world that like have it. And that makes sense like to me, because I feel like I've always felt like I was like not one of them, you know, like when there's like a group of people, I'm like, I'm not one of you, you know, like I've always felt like I'm just like very different than like a lot of other people. So like it kind of just like goes with it that I have this like thing that's super rare. It's like similar to schizophrenia in a way where like you think things are happening that like aren't actually happening, and stuff like that. And you like, it kind of like, yeah, it's really like, it's really hard to explain, but that's kind of the best way that I can explain it, is like you think things are happening that aren't actually happening, and you have like imaginary fears that you think are like real, which it's made it super hard, because like even if the scenarios like aren't actually happening, like the emotions are real. And so I feel like I have all these memories of really like weird, like off the wall, scary stuff happening to me. Because like, even though they didn't actually happen, like my emotions were like actually there. And so I have like all these like weird memories and stuff, which I feel like has like damaged me in some ways, but also has like shaped me into who I am and stuff. So like, I wouldn't like change it, because like, now that I've like come this far with it, and when I was like younger, I was like, I want it to like go away and stuff like that. But like, I know that it's not going to do that. And like now where I can handle it better, I'm like fine with it, because it has like made me who I am, and I'm like very proud of who I am. And so it's just like, yeah, it's like a part of it. And I feel like it's kind of influenced my like talents and stuff. I feel like I wouldn't like be able to like do all this stuff like with my acting and my singing and stuff if it like wasn't there. So it's like been really hard, but I feel like it's also helped me in like a few ways.
So you can kind of tap into it at times to help you get into your roles.
Well, yeah, I mean, I did on Abigail Hunting. I probably like, I don't want to do that again, because so here's like a weird little story. So when I was a dancer, I was on this team, and we performed at halftime at like basketball games and stuff. And so I just like, you know, I had my own way of dancing, and I would like do my dance and work really hard and perform and whatever, and just kind of have fun with it. And then I was performing at this basketball game, and I just thought like, I want to be, you know, not just like a dancer. I want to be like a great dancer, you know, true like artist and performer. And I want to make this such a great like performance and stuff. And so I went out on the field, and I was like, not the field, but like the court. And I was like doing my dance. And every single move, I put all the energy that I possibly had into it, and all the expression, and just gave it so much just like energy and everything I had in me. And I like totally exhausted myself, and I like almost passed out like on stage, because I put so much into this dance. And then I watched, and my mom was in the audience, and she like videotaped it, and I watched the video back when I was like at home, and like from an audience perspective, I couldn't tell a difference between that and my other dances. And so I was like, why did I do that? Like, you know, you can just like have fun with it. You don't have to put all that into it, because all it did was like completely exhaust me. And it looked exactly the same as the other dances that I did, and just like did like natural, like how it came out, instead of like trying so hard. And that's the same thing is what I learned about acting like this year, because I used to like, not when I was like, I started when I was 11, so I've been doing it a long time, but for the past like few years, I've been trying to do that, and like kind of draw from all the psychasthenia stuff, and like put all this crazy stuff into the characters. And Abigail Hunting, I went like almost method. It was like super like, I have to be amazing, you know. And then like I had such a hard time on that shoot. I was like, okay, I'm gonna make the decision for myself to like, I mean, I can draw from stuff if I want to, you know, once in a while, but like, I'm not going to make myself do that. I'm just going to like have fun with it, and, you know, be more like natural and stuff. And I was like, okay, this might make me like, you know, less of an actor. It might make my performances like not as good, but for my own like sake, I have to do that. And so I just did this movie. I just wrapped super recently. And I kind of approached it that way, and was just like, okay, I'm just gonna have fun with this. You know, I'll work hard, but I'm not gonna like try so incredibly hard to force this great performance or whatever. and I watched myself like on a couple of scenes that they showed me, and it's the same thing as the dance. It was exactly the same, you know, like as an audience, you can't tell. And so that's like one of the biggest things I've learned about being a performer in any aspect is like, you don't have to like try so overly hard. Like, I feel like with a lot of things, especially acting, you either got it or you don't. And like, you can practice it and you can like improve and get better, but like, you don't have to kill yourself like to do a part. You know, you can just like have fun with it and just let it come out, and it's not gonna make you like less good of an actor. It's just like you're gonna have more fun, and that's all it's gonna do. And I think that's like the most important thing of all, you know, more important than any performance. So that's what I learned. I don't remember what the question was, but that's what I learned about stuff.
Hey, that's okay. You keep going. I'm not going to stop you. Well, it seems like at times that could be an advantage for you over other people because you're able to tap into those certain emotions. You know, you see actors all the time having to force themselves to cry or, you know, to act scared and things like that. And you can almost, you know, live that without.
Yeah. So see, like I can do that, but I don't want to like anymore. It's like, I mean, once in a while, you know, once in a while I will, but for the most part, I just want to like, I mean, I know how to act scared without going through that. And so like, I'm just going to do that for the most part.
Yeah, but it's got to be difficult living with something like that when, yeah, I guess sometimes it comes on when you're not expecting it to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's like living with depression and things like that. You can't explain to people why you feel the way you feel. You just know you feel it. Yeah. So what kind of dancing do you like the most?
I did a lot of lyrical dancing. That was like one of my favorites, and like jazz and ballet and stuff like that. I never really liked the like harder stuff, like the hip hop and stuff. I did a little bit of it when people would cast me in like, you know, shows that involved that and stuff, but I never really liked that much. But I connected with the like lyrical and ballet and stuff more. So that was fun. But again, like dance is a really weird culture, and like it's very competitive even when you're like not at a competition or something. If you're all on the same dance team, like the other girls on the dance team were always like really strange and like mean to like each other, but like me especially because I was like very different than them. And it's like the thing that I have against like that kind of like world is with something like acting, they like celebrate everybody's differences and stuff. And it's like, oh, this person has like this like different eyes or whatever, so let's like show that off and like light it this way so you can see it and stuff like that. And the dance, they just like want everybody to look exactly the same. And I always had like the different haircut and the different, you know, like height, shape, whatever. And like it was always, I'd get in trouble because I had like shorter bangs than the other people and stuff. And like they just wanted every person to be like exactly the same as each other. And I'm like, I like can't do that. Like I just can't be like one of them. Like my favorite song is called Heroes, and it's by a band called Alesso. And there's a line in it that says, everyday people do everyday things, but I can't be one of them. And I feel like that's like the case like with me and stuff. And they're always like, the dance was always like, you have to like look exactly like these other girls, you have to act like them, you have to dance like them. And I'm like, well, I'm always going to be different than them. So like there's not that much I can do about that. And yeah, it was always like a really weird like experience and stuff. And we wear like these halter top dresses and stuff. And I mean, I'm like 14 at the time, and like I'd wear like a skin colored like bra with it, and they're like, no, you can't do that because what if it shows and stuff like that. And so I'd be in the back like against the wall, I can tell like it was right time to come out, and then I would go, and then they couldn't really say that much, but yet they would still like, oh, we're gonna get you kicked off the team. And like it was just like super weird. And I'm like, that type of stuff would never happen like in the acting world, because you could just be like, oh, I'm gonna wear this with this outfit, and they'd like find a way to make it work. Not like you have to like be like the other people. But it was really funny because I had this one, I had a couple costumes that were like super like skimpy and stuff, And so I'd like wear something under it because I was like 13, 14 at the time. And everybody would like make fun of me for doing that. And then this one girl like didn't do it, like didn't wear anything under it. And then at the tech rehearsal, the halter top dress like broke and it like came down. And I'm like, see, this is why you should wear something underneath the dress. But it was like kind of funny because like it's like karma. It's like the girls that are like, yeah, you're wearing something underneath it, like you can't do that, and then they have like that problem, and I'm like, see, that wouldn't happen to me because I wore something underneath it. But it's kind of funny. But I mean, I did like learn from like experiences being a dancer and stuff, and like I mean, I did it for a few years, so like that says something, you know. But it was always kind of like really weird. And sometimes the coaches were always like super weird too, and they would like every time the girls would like be mean to me, the coaches would like take their side and like be one of them, and I was like, you're the adult here though, you should like step up. But and they would give themselves like solos in our like end of year recitals and stuff. We'd be like dancing, and then the coach would be like, I'm gonna do this solo and stuff, and they would like give themselves like solos in the dance, and I thought that was really weird. So yeah, but you know, it was like there were cool things about it, but I'm glad I'm like not on a team anymore.
So now you can kind of use your success and say, ha, now make fun of me.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it was kind of funny because I did that on another show recently because I was on this Instagram live thing that they were doing. It was like a advice show for like actors, and they like interview people like actors, and we give advice to like aspiring actors and stuff. And so it was cool to like be on that. And it was like an Instagram live thing, and so people's names were like popping up as I was like doing it, like this person's tuned in, that person's tuned in. And it had their like Instagram names, and so like those are like pretty recognizable if you like know the people. And so this girl that like went to my school and stuff, and was like most of the kids at my school were like mean. And so this girl like that I knew was from my school, like her name like popped up, and I like didn't say anything about it. And then this other person that I know like from the film industry, like their name popped up. And so I was like, oh, there's this person. And I like called them out, and I was like, they're the first name that I recognize on here. Really, I like recognize the other one, but I like didn't say that because I was like, hey, I didn't recognize you. So I thought that was funny.
Do you ever find some of the people that were mean to you back then act like y'all were best friends or something now that you're showing success?
Like a few people, just throughout my life have like done that. I feel like there hasn't been like a ton of that from the school people yet, but I have gotten like a couple times where people from the school will like contact me and be like, hey, I saw you on TV and stuff like that, and I don't really answer them. So yeah, I guess I have gotten it a little bit, but I feel like more of that's coming like as more things are like released, and I'm like excited to kind of see like what that would be like.
Yeah, you stand your ground, girl. Don't let them treat you wrong. If they were mean to you, say, you know what? You were mean to me then. You know, why should I give you the time of day now?
I probably just won't say anything.
There you go. Don't say nothing. That's the best thing. Don't say nothing at all. So back to your music. What kind of music do you like?
I like pop music a lot, like to listen to like the type of songs that I write are like kind of slower, and it's like kind of funny because I don't really like to listen to a lot of like slow music. Like one of the artists that I like has this album that's like super mellow the whole time, and I can't like listen to that whole album in a row because it's just like too mellow. But the song that I'm like writing is like pretty mellow just because like I feel like it fits my voice and stuff. And the only instrument that I like kind of know how to play is the piano, so I feel like that's, you know, like acoustic-y, and you kind of have to do that. But I'm writing this other one that's like more upbeat, but I haven't written like any of the backtrack for it or anything because I don't really know how to do that yet and make it as poppy as I want it to be. But yeah, I like a lot of the pop music. I know like people, I was just on a set recently with some people that were saying like, how like pop music is just like whatever, and like artists should listen to like old music and this and that. And I'm like, well, like there's some truth in that, but I still really like the pop music like of this like age and stuff, because I feel like I'm 21 and like that's a good age to listen to pop music, so I'm gonna do that. Like but yeah, I like there's like certain songs that like really like grab me and I'm like, oh my gosh, and I'm like obsessed with it, but I'm obsessed with it for like a month, and then there's like a different song, and then I'm like, oh, I'm obsessed with this song. But one of the songs that I'm obsessed with right now is called Crashing by Millennium, and you probably don't know what that is, but it is awesome. Like I just heard it in my room one day and I was like, what is this? And I listened to it like a lot because it's really good.
See, pop music to me, and I guess I'm telling my age, is the Beatles. So
Yeah. Well, the Beatles are good. I was in a choir when I was like 16, and we had like a Beatles night, and we would like sing Beatles songs to the audience and stuff, and that was cool. I don't remember what songs we did, but I think we did Imagine, but I don't know if that's like by like the Beatles or if it's just like
that's John Lennon.
But we did that one, and then we did a few others, but I don't remember what they were now. I should though. I don't remember like at all. I'll have to read one of my journals or something and see what songs they were. But yeah, they're good.
So you gonna sing something?
Sure.
Sing something.
You know what? Ooh, you know what? So I have the piano. I mean, I have the camera like sitting on my piano right now. It's an out of tune piano, but like I feel like it's still fine because I have like a little organ type thing that I like use most of the time. But I'm gonna play part of my song that I wrote for the audience, and I've never. So I don't know how good this is gonna be because I've never performed this before.
All right.
Like ever. I'm not even done writing. Yeah. This is the piano. Wait. I want to show it. That's the piano. See?
Okay.
I put it up. Okay, so woo, this is gonna be fun. Okay, so this is like the first part of it. The song's called Starlight. Don't steal it. Okay.
Copyright.
We're all made of starlight, like dragons we rule the night. Are we chasing trouble, or is it chasing us? Sapphires in the starlight. They say don't steal them, so I might. If they can't bear fruit from grace, what am I doing in this place? That's the wrong note. It took a while. Wait, hold on one sec. It took a while. It took a while, but I dare now. It took a while. It took a while, but I dare now. And that's all I have on the piano. And that voice was probably not that good, but that's fine. And then so the next part, that voice seriously probably was not that good because I was like nervous, but the next part, wait, I'm trying to get my pumpkin in the shot. So the next part is gonna, I don't have like the backtrack, but it's gonna be like something, I like to call things like the world or something like Neapolitan, because like the Neapolitan ice cream is like different colors and like the, yeah. And so the next part's gonna be like, you applaud the perform. Wait, let me start over. This is like bad voice. I'm gonna take a drink first.
You're doing fine. You're doing fine.
So it goes. You applaud the performance I gave. You say bravo to Did you know I'm marvelously brave? The world seems so Neapolitan. You know what I mean? Know what I mean? Sometimes you gotta go on a journey to win. And there's like another verse and like chorus and stuff. And then there's a bridge that like quotes a movie that I was in. Because I was just in this movie, and it's called, right now it's called Tiger Tiger, and it's like it's based on like a poem, not based on, but they got the title from a poem, but they don't think they're gonna keep the name Tiger Tiger, and so I'm just gonna like put that in the song, and then if they keep the name, I can just be like, yeah, it's from this movie, but if they don't keep the name, then that'd be good, because then they won't know where it came from. But either way, I hope they do keep that title because I like it. But anyway, yeah, that's part of the song, but don't steal it.
You're very talented.
Thank you.
I'll tell you, that was surprisingly refreshing.
Thank you.
I'm not much into the pop music nowadays, but I would listen to that.
Oh, thank you. Well, hopefully I can like get it somewhere. I don't really know how to get it on the radio or anything, but I was talking to this like guy that I know, and he was saying that he was like talking about making a music video like for one of my songs like eventually. So that'd be cool, because I feel like that would be a good way to get it out there, because people, especially like nowadays with the internet and stuff, you can kind of put something on there and everybody finds it. So maybe there'll be a music video of it one day, which would be cool.
Hey.
It's like I kind of always had that in the back of my mind. That's why it's not about a boy, because like I always thought like if I made a music video, like if I wrote a song about a boy, because like a lot of songs are like about, like boys or girls or whatever. I was like, if I wrote a song about a boy, then if we did a music video, like I'd have to have like an on-screen boyfriend, and sometimes that's like awkward because you don't know them. And so that's why I specifically wrote it like not about a boy, because then they couldn't cast like a fake boyfriend for the music video. It can just be like other stuff. Like I don't know what it would be about, but it's not going to be like a love story, because it's why I didn't make it one. So then we wouldn't have to do that in the video. It's like sometimes it's really fun depending on the person, but sometimes it's really awkward. Like I had this one on-screen husband one time that he was actually my first on-screen husband, and he was like he just like was a liar, and the whole time I'm like trying to talk to him, and all he wanted to do was like show me pictures of his motorcycle. And he's like, look at this motorcycle, look at this motorcycle, and I'm like, cool. And then it was a period film, and so I was like in the back of the wagon with like little kids, and he was driving it, and somebody was like, the horse wrangler was like, have you ever driven one of these before? And he's like, yeah, like a while ago or something. But he'd never driven one, and so they like didn't really tell him how to drive it. They're just like, okay, crash course, like remember this is here and this is there, and they just like walked away because he said he could like drive it, and then he couldn't drive it. And so we were like going up the hill, and the horses were like stopped like halfway up the hill, and I have these like little girls in the back of the wagon that were like the director's kids, and so I'm like, it was really weird. But anyway, it's kind of weird like to have on-screen boyfriends half the time, because sometimes like, I mean, you don't really have a say in like who they cast, and so sometimes you're like, oh, it's this person. But yeah.
Well, what about in the Abigail haunting, the guy that you were with, and how'd that work out?
I thought Austin was pretty cool. Like there wasn't really anything about him that like was like really strange. Like I feel like a lot of people, I'm just like, they did this like really weird thing, but he was pretty cool. Like I really liked working with him. Like I'd work with him again. Yeah, he just yeah, like I don't know, I can't really think of anything. I kind of wish we got to like chit chat more and stuff. Like I feel like some people on set I like chit chat with a lot, and I like get to know them like deep into them. And him, like we were just kind of mostly just like doing our scenes and stuff, and like I wish that we would have like talked more and stuff, but that's like my fault as much as it is his, so that's the only thing I can think of though. He's pretty cool. He wasn't really like an on-screen boyfriend though until like the very it's been out for a while until like the very end, but then not even then really. So he kind of reminds me of like one of my friends that I have like in just regular life, because like I have this friend that like I like don't date at all, and like I wouldn't like think about dating at all, but we're like really good friends and stuff. And like how how Austin's character comes in and like saves me from the demon. Like I feel like my friend would like totally do that, even though I'm not like his girlfriend or anything. And so I kind of, oh, and also like that scene in the kitchen where we're just like talking about life. Like me and my friend have like a lot of conversations that just remind me of that and stuff. And so I just kind of think of like that dude when I think of that character. But yeah, I'm glad you liked that movie and saw it and stuff.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, but y'all were in the movie. Y'all were supposed to have been like friends in school or something, and then you were meeting up again. And
Yeah.
how do you prepare for a role like that? You know, being able to say, "Oh yeah, we were supposed to have known each other for all this time, and now we're meeting up again." You know, like I don't know. It's confusing
Well,
for me.
it was actually kind of funny because the casting process for that was like really, really long. It was like 4 months of like a bunch of auditions. I did like 6 auditions for it or something, and then they flew me out to like this acting studio in Denver to do like a chemistry read, like screen test type of thing. It wasn't a screen test, but it was kind of like a screen test without the camera. Like they had us like act out stuff, and it was like a chemistry read and stuff. And so they were having me and Austin come and like do this thing to see if we like had chemistry and stuff before they officially cast us. And we knew that's what they were looking for, is like the whole like, do they have chemistry and stuff. And so Austin like found me on the internet ahead of time and kind of reached out to me and was like, we need to get some chemistry going so we can get these parts basically. And so we made this whole plan to like meet up in my hotel and like get to know each other the whole day before the chemistry read, and then go there and pretend like we like just met and we're like, wow, what great chemistry, you know. And so that was like our plan. And so it was working out like totally fine. And we'd called each other a couple times, and he started walking into the lobby of the hotel, but the director of the movie was like right there. Like right as he was walking in, he's like, wait, what are you doing here? And he's like, oh yeah. And then we had to like tell him. But that worked out in our favor, because then the director was like, oh wow, like these people really want these parts if they're like finding each other on the internet and like trying to make a plan to like have chemistry. So it was like fine. He thought it was funny. But yeah, he's like a really easy person to talk to. So I feel like it was good to like play off of that. That kitchen scene that's like 6 minutes long, it's actually really funny because they gave us like certain points to hit, and a lot of it like was scripted, but they said to like improv like in between and kind of just wing it and like just go with it. But we had to hit all these like specific points in the story, and it was like kind of hard to remember. Like I'm like improvising, but then I'm like, oh yeah, I have to come back and say this, and there was like this big list of things that we had to say. And one of them was we had to say that like my character kind of liked him like in high school, and then he like shot her down basically. But there was so much to remember that I forgot to say that, and then he forgot to like say something about it because I didn't like say it. But we shot that with cross coverage, which means like 2 cameras going at the same time, and it was super crazy. And then we did the whole thing, and it was like 6 minutes, and they liked it, and like they got a take that they liked, and they like left it. And then we were just hanging out like in the trailers, and Austin was like in my trailer, and we were talking about stuff, and it just hit me that I like didn't say that, and I was like, wait, did I even say that? And he was like, no, we never said that. And then we were like, should we tell them? And it's like, if they tell them, then we have to do the whole thing again. And we're like, eh. And so we like didn't say anything, and so there's like a whole subplot that's like not there just because I like forgot to hit one of those like points I was improvising. So that would have been in it, but it's not. The director like didn't notice, or he didn't care.
Okay, I've got to ask this because I've always been curious and wanted to ask. What is it like when you have to do a love scene with somebody?
Well, it's like, I mean, it's obviously like a little bit weird, but it's also like not as weird as you would expect, because when I started doing those, I thought that there would be a lot of like weird jokes and everything like going around the set about it, but there's actually not. Like people are kind of more professional than you'd like expect them to be, I feel like. So it's like fine. But like it's obviously kind of weird. I feel like the the guys get more insecure about it than like I do, because like I'm always just like, okay, whatever, like I don't really think that much of it, and then the guys are always like, oh my gosh, I have to get a mint now, and like and they're like, they kind of are like really like and I'm just like, it's fine, whatever. But the weirdest one was I was in this movie called The 13th Cross, and I was 19 at the time, and my co-actor was like 33, and we did like a bed scene together and stuff where we're like making out in the bed. It was like and it was just weird because that actor was like the strangest personality like ever. He was like really weird. I like didn't understand like anything that he ever talked about, and I'm just like, I don't get you. And then we had to like make out in the bed. I was like, this is weird. Just the age difference was like a huge thing, and also I'm 5'1", and he was like 6'3" or 4", and he was like an ex-football player and stuff. So it's like the size difference was like really dramatic, and just the fact that he's like not some like he was like, I'm glad I got to work with him like as an actor, but he's like not somebody that I like hang out with as a person. And so just like that like dynamic of like, this is just somebody that I'm like working with, and like there's nothing else there really. And then we're just like, okay, let's like get in this bed. And, like it's just kind of weird, but it comes with the territory, you know. I mean, like I feel like if you want to do films and you want to do like gritty films with like, you know, the content that a lot of mine have in it, it's just like you got to expect that, you know. But like it's fine. Like really, there's no like real answer, like it's fine or it's not. It's just like, it's just kind of weird, but you know, it's called acting and it's fine.
With that in mind, do you think you'd ever like refuse to do a love scene with somebody?
Probably not. Like, I mean, if it was like super like not done in a tasteful way and like, you know, looked like a porn movie or something, I'd be like, no. But I don't think I would just be like, no, I'm not gonna kiss this person, or whatever. But yeah, like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think so. There's certain things that I like don't want to do, but at the same time, it's like I never really say like I'm never doing this, because I feel like if something comes up where that's like a thing, then I'd like do it. Like for the most part, I don't want to like smoke on screen and stuff, but like I have done it once before, and like I wouldn't say that I would never do it again, because I feel like that kind of limits you, you know. Like if I can get out of it, I would. Like if they were like, there's this scene in it and like, are you comfortable doing that? I'd probably be like, no. And then they'd probably like cheat it or take it out or whatever. But if it was like a really great part and like an awesome like movie that I just really wanted to do, and they were like, there's a smoking scene and it's very necessary because of this, I'd be like, okay, and I'd do it. The same thing with like nudity. Like I've never done that in a film. I've been like close to it, but I've never like really done that. And like if somebody asked me like, hey, because I had one director be like, I have this like great idea after I'd already signed on to the film. They were like, I have this really great idea and we could like have you at the end in this nude scene and whatever. And I was like, I don't really want to do that, because it was just an idea floating around. So I could just say like, I don't really want to do that. And then he's like, okay, we won't do it. But if it was like already written in the script and it was like an A24 movie, because I really want to work with A24, and they have a lot of nudity in A24. But like if I got a part in an A24 movie and it was like already written to be in there, I'd be like, okay, and I'd probably do it. So it really depends on like the production and like stuff like that, and like if you're able to get out of it or not. Like I feel like it's usually if they write in something weird like after you've already signed on to it, it's easier to be like, I don't really want to do that. But if it's already in there and then you signed on to it, then you're kind of stuck. So yeah.
So okay, it's kind of off the wall, but somebody like me, I have asthma. Mm-hmm. And if the part, and I really, really wanted the part, and they, you know, had a smoking scene in it, what would they do for somebody like me? Would they just, you know, a camera trick to make it look like I'm smoking, or what would I have to do?
Well, I mean, it would depend on the production, really. I mean, like if it was one of those characters where they're smoking the whole film, they probably like wouldn't cast somebody with asthma. or like if it was just one scene, it would depend on like that director and how much they wanted that in there. Like they could cheat it. And like I did a scene once in the 13th Cross where I was holding the cigarette and the other girl was like actually smoking, and then they cut to me and I was just like holding it or whatever, doing the lines, and like the audience doesn't notice, like, did she ever actually smoke that, because my co-star was smoking it. So like I never actually did, but like people don't really notice. So they could do that, or they could just like take the scene out if they didn't really care about it that much. It would just depend on like that director and how important that scene is like to them and stuff, and like how important the cigarette is. I mean, like if it's not like vital to have it there, it's like they could just do the lines without the cigarette. Sometimes I'm like, why do you need that? But some people just like to put content in like that in their films just to like get the R rating. Like it kind of like seems weird, but a lot of people think that more people will watch it if it's rated R, and so they try to put things in there to get it rated R. Like they try to put more like swearing or something in it so they can like get up to the R rating, and they think more people will watch it. So there's that. But I like it. I don't mind doing R-rated movies at all. I think it's kind of cool because when I was little, I remember my parents would like watch R-rated movies in the other room, and I would think like one day I'm gonna be like all cool and I'm gonna be in an R-rated movie, and now I like am in a lot of them, so it's like kind of cool. But also I really like when they're like PG-13, because like a lot of my family and friends are like very like LDS, and they like don't want to watch an R-rated movie, and so like they're just like, I don't really want to see that, and they kind of don't know what to do, because a lot of them are like, I want to see it because you're in it, but I don't want to watch an R-rated movie. And I'm like, it's fine, you don't have to. But then it's like, I wish they could see this. So I like it when it's PG-13, because then it's like everybody can see it, like all of my like relatives and people that don't want to see the R-rated movie can like see it. So that's my favorite when it's rated that. But like it's also kind of cool to just be like, hey, I'm in this R-rated movie. Is like kind of cool too. So, but whatever.
Well, I see, I'm one of these people that when I'm watching a movie, instead of just watching the movie, I get these stupid things running through my head. And I go, I wonder if they really make them smoke if they don't want to smoke. And how do they make it look like they're snorting cocaine or smoking a joint or something? They actually smoke weed on the set. These stupid things run through my head. So I've always been.
I was on this one set one time, and I'm not going to say which set. I usually call people out. I'm usually like, it was this movie, but I'm not going to do that on this one. But there was this one movie where my character is like smoking like a marijuana vape pen. And so that was in the script, and already like it had already been written in there. And I read the script before I signed on, and I saw that was in there, but I was like, it's fine, I'll smoke something, And so I was like, I signed on to it, and I said I would do it. And then the more I thought about this, I was like, I really don't want to smoke anything. And I was like, and so I contacted the producer, and I was like, okay, I know I already signed on to this, but I've been thinking about it, and I really don't want to do that smoking scene. And is there a way we could cheat it or like take it out? And they were like, we can cheat it. Like we could just have you hold it and then have the other person like be smoking it or whatever. And I was like, okay, cool. And so I get to the set, and they actually have like a vape pen with like CBD or whatever in it, which I know is like technically medical marijuana, and it's not the same as like smoking marijuana, but to me it's like, it's still drugs, like I'm like against that. And so I was like, and they told me that we could cheat it on the phone. But then I get to the set, and they like have one of them, and they're like, hey, you're gonna smoke this. And I was like, can we cheat it? Because like I was told we could cheat it. And they were like, no, like you're gonna smoke it. And I was like, And then so I kind of like did, because I didn't know what to do. And I'm like, okay, like that is LA for you. Like it was one of the like California productions that I did, and I'm like, that's just not how to be professional, like they told me that I could cheat it, first of all. And I'm like, if we weren't gonna cheat it, they should have like been up front and be like, you have to do it. Like they should have told me that earlier. And then they shouldn't have put like actual like CBD in there. Like I know it's like not the same, but like to me it's like kind of the same, because it's still marijuana, like either way. And so I'm like, so I don't think they should have done that. Like I feel like they should have been upfront with me, and then put something like, I don't know what you put in vape pens, but like, I don't know, like if you could put like water in it or something, like they should have done that. Like they shouldn't have actually like put a chemical in it. But there's that. So I did do that once for that movie. So that was kind of weird, but whatever. But yeah, I don't remember what I was gonna say, but that was kind of a weird experience. People are like really weird. They're just like, I'm just like, yeah, but whatever. I also, in that same movie, I had like fake wine, and that was really good because it was like cranberry juice, and we like pretended like it was wine. And I'm like, knowing these people, like I'm glad it wasn't actual wine because it was actual vape pen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got somebody like me who's, trying to get over alcoholism, and I wouldn't want to actually drink alcohol on the set. Maybe
Yeah.
I just shouldn't be an actor. That's what it is.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't drink actual alcohol on the set. That's why I liked the fake alcohol. But a lot of those people on that set like they would like after we'd rap every night, they would like get drunk and stuff, but I like wouldn't. And then I was sharing a room there with this like one girl, and she'd always come back and like not be like drunk but be like loopy, I guess. And she'd come in the little cabin that we were staying in, and there was like a lot of taxidermy animals in there. And so she'd like come in and she was like all loopy, and she'd like comment on all the animals and be like, yeah, it's a bear, woo! I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, what? I can't hear. It's kind of weird. There's a lot of like really weird experiences. I feel like every movie that I do, like every day, it's just like weird experiences. But that's kind of why I do it, honestly, because like I feel like that's kind of the meaning of life, is to have like weird adventures that are like super unique, and that's what being in a film is. Like I did theater for like 4 years, and it was really fun, but it like there was a few like weird stuff, but most of it was just like pretty normal. Like you audition, you get cast, you do the thing, and it's fun. But the movies, it's like every day it's like this crazy like weird adventure. So like that's kind of why I do it. It's like I want crazy weird adventures because like where else are you gonna have them? So it's good.
Enjoy life.
It's a good excuse to like travel because they've been like they fly me out of state a lot to act and stuff, and like I did a film in North Carolina last year, and it's like I like don't know anybody in North Carolina and like wouldn't have any reason to go there. So it's like a good excuse to like see parts of the world or the country that you wouldn't have seen otherwise.
Oh, I hear you. So you I guess decided one day you wanted to get into theater, and then from theater you decided, hey, let's try the acting in movies kind of thing.
Yeah, pretty much. I always liked acting and stuff. Even before I like really knew what it was, I was always acting out like little skits and stuff for the family or whatever, and like stuff like that. And then like I never really thought about doing it like as a career because I was like a little kid, like you don't really think about stuff like that. But I was in school one day, and this girl came to school with her hair like super curled, and kids are like really weird, so they have to comment on everything that you do. And so this girl had like curly hair one day, and this other, like all the other kids were like, why do you have curly hair? Like, you don't have that. And then she was like, I'm in a play. I did it for the play. And then it like hit me. And I remember it like hitting me like hard, like, oh, like she's in a play. Like I could do that. Maybe I should be in a play. Like maybe I should be an actor. And that was like, I remember like consciously thinking that. And then it was a couple of years before that kind of came to fruition. And then I saw a flyer for like auditions for a local like musical and stuff. And I went and got the part, which was cool because they say like you don't ever get the first audition that you like do. But I got the first play audition and the first film audition. So like that gave me like a lot of confidence, like starting out. But yeah, I did theater for like 4 years and then kind of worked my way up to like more prestigious theaters and roles and stuff. And then I decided I wanted to get into film after I saw Titanic, because I'd never seen Titanic, and then they brought it back to the big screen and I like saw it and I was like, oh man, like I want to do this now. So I started, like I didn't really know how to get into film, and so I just started doing like background extra work for like a couple years, and then that led to like getting an agent and stuff. And then I I did like leads in short films and stuff, and then that led to like the feature films like here in Utah, and then that led to like the feature films like elsewhere, like in other states and LA and all that stuff. So it's like a big journey, but it's like, it's crazy. Like you get one big thing and it kind of changes everything, because everybody like wants you. Like Utah has a really great like film industry, and I love working here. But like a lot of the production companies here, like the bigger ones, wouldn't ever like give me a chance or like look at me. And then like I do this film in LA, and then I come back, and then just that prestige of like I've worked in LA, everybody's like, oh, now you can be in our film. And so like it's actually, working in LA actually opened up a lot of doors here in Utah, because people will like look at me more, like give me a chance and stuff. So that's been cool. That's like what I wanted to happen with those. So it's cool. And then with Abigail Hunting coming out, it's like everything's just like opened up. So it's like it's really cool. It's like a cool journey.
So what was your first play?
It was called Wonderful Witches of Oz, and it was a kind of like, it was like weird. It was like half Wicked, half like Wizard of Oz, like combined with like other random songs in it. Like I was this like sorcery student. And this was literally 10 years ago, so this is like trippy to think about it. But I was like a kid at the sorcery school, and I had like 8 lines and a singing solo, and I was like really excited about the 8 lines and stuff. And so I got so into it, and I remember like being in school, and like I was supposed to be doing school stuff, but I had this like little notebook, and I wrote all this stuff about my character, like what she was into and what her friends were named and how she likes to do her makeup and like all this stuff. And like I didn't realize that, but like that's actually really good character development. Like I still do that, you know, like on a deeper like level, of course. But I got like, even that first like play, it was a cast of all kids, but I was like so into it, and I was like, this is my character and what she's into, and this is all the stuff about my character, how old she is and all that stuff. And I just got really into it. Yeah, it was fun. Like I really liked it, and it was kind of funny because the kids there like wouldn't really talk to me that much that year, but I still loved it because it was acting and performing and stuff. And then the next year I got the lead in the youth theater like play, and it was through the same company, and so it was like the same kids, and then they all like talked to me like after I was the lead, which I didn't care. Like I didn't care at all, because I just like wanted to have friends there, and then I did, and I didn't like, I kind of knew that it was only because of that, but I'm like, I don't care. Like I'll talk to them. But it was fun. So it was fun the first year, but it was like more fun like the second year, because they would talk to me. And then it kind of just led to like more professional productions, like with adults and stuff, not like just the youth theater, and then like film from there. So yeah, it was good. I'm glad I like got to grow up in the industry, because like I feel like a lot of people don't really get to do that. And I have all these memories of being like 12 years old and like doing this TV special and stuff, and I'm like, people don't have that, you know, like people don't have that type of like memory. So I'm like glad that I got to experience that like from a young age.
Well, that's cool. And what was your first movie role?
Well, my first time like being on a movie set was a movie called Hello, I Love You, and which is perfect because that's the kind of what I was saying to the film industry, is like, hello, I love you. But I was like an extra, and then they cut me out of it, so I'm not in it at all. But,
That sucks.
but it's fun. But that was like my first time like being on a film set. My first like speaking role in a movie was in a Holocaust film called Hanley and Anne. And I played a girl named Nanette, who's like a real person, and she's actually still alive, and she was like one of the friends of Anne Frank. And I was only in like a couple scenes of it, but it was really fun because it was like my first like speaking part ever in a movie, and I got to wear the fun period dresses and all that stuff. But it was super funny because I was in a couple scenes because I was like one of the friends, so I was like at the table and stuff, but like I only had one line in it, and it was what about you, Margot, because I was talking to Margot Frank, but I could not say that in a Dutch accent. Like it was, I just could not do it. they had like a dialect coach, and he kept coming over and like telling me like, no, it's like this, and I'm like, ah. We were doing it like so many times because I could not say that in a Dutch accent. But yeah, I actually just saw that movie again recently because it was years ago we filmed that, but for some reason they put it in a film festival like this year, and I'm like, that's random. A film festival with one of my like more current like feature films, where I was the lead, and I'm like, that's so weird that they would like put that in there with it. But so me and my friends like went to see both of them, and I was like, Kelly and I look so young. Like I look so young in that. Like I was like a lot younger, but it's just funny. I look like so young. But when I like heard myself say that line, I was like, oh yeah, I couldn't say that.
And so what's your favorite genre of music? I mean, of movies, or do you have one?
like to act in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I like the horror genre a lot because it's like really dramatic, and I like being dramatic. But I just wrapped this like action adventure feature film, which I didn't really ever give any thought to before. But that was really cool, and that's kind of like one of my new favorite like genres, because it's dramatic still, and I can do my like forte of what I'm like known for, but at the same time it was so fun. Like I got to like drive a four-wheeler and like shoot these big rifles and all this stuff, and it was dramatic, but it was also like it had a lot of comedic relief in it. And it was just a big, just fun adventure like the whole time. And it's like it's not like, I feel like a lot of my films you can't watch it if you're like super young, but this one, it's like a lot of people of like all different ages could watch it, and it was super fun. I really enjoyed it, and I was like, I need to do more action adventure movies. So that was cool. And I really like doing period pieces a lot, and I'd like to do more of those like period dramas, because I really like old fashioned things and wearing the clothes and stuff. So hopefully I'll do more period pieces because I really like those.
Would you do a superhero movie?
I'm not into superhero movies, but I would definitely do one, like if it was offered to me. Like I'm not like into them where I'm like gonna go watch it like a lot, but I would definitely love to do it if it was like, if it came my way. I'd be like, sure. That'd be pretty cool. I've always wanted to be on the like wires and stuff, because in my last movie, they had somebody like on wires, and they flew up like 20 feet in the air, like off of a moving four-wheeler, and it was super like dangerous, and it looked super cool. And one of my stage productions, they had people like on wires, and I always thought it looked super fun. So I'd like to do that sometime. That'd be pretty cool.
It was just a random stupid question, you know. So you can talk a little bit about the movies that you got going on with Craig Ahrens and David Espinosa, if you'd like to close it out.
Yeah, well, I'm in a movie called The Crumbs that is being released apparently at the end of the month, but like I don't know anything. Like they don't really tell me anything. Like I don't know what day, I don't know where, and it's so weird because like usually when you promote a movie, you're like, this day, this time, you know, this bat channel. Like you can say stuff, but they don't tell me that much. But it is apparently coming out by the end of the month, and it's called The Crumbs, and it's really awesome. It's a very like unique film. It has a lot of different genres in it. It's a horror film, but it's also like a little bit of a dark comedy. It's a drama. Like I think it's got something in it for everybody. And I got to wear a lot of really cool outfits and cool. Got to do a lot of cool stuff in it. So I hope that you guys check it out.
I'm looking forward to it, actually. Ever since they told me about it, I'm like, okay, I got to watch this.
Yeah, it's definitely different than a lot of other films that I think people have seen. So I think it's going to do really well, hopefully.
You like those dark comedies?
I'm actually not big on the dark comedy, but I think that The Crumbs did it very well, and they did it in a tasteful way. So I like how it was done in that movie, but that's not like my favorite thing typically. But I think that the majority of America likes it, which is like what's important in this case, because like we want people to see it. So like, I mean, it doesn't matter if I like it. It's like I think that I think that the majority of America really likes the dark comedy. So that's one reason I think that it's going to take off. And I've heard that like a couple of times from a couple different people that they think that this is going to turn into like one of those like cult classics, or people like quote it all the time and stuff. And I'm like, that would be super cool. So I hope that happens, or just in general, like I hope it does well and people enjoy it, because that's why we make films, is for you guys and the audience. So hopefully a lot of people will see it and like it and tell people about it.
Now, I know this is not a dark comedy, but it's a comedy that's dark. Have you seen what we do in the shadows?
I don't think I have.
Oh my God, you have to look that up. I think it's on Hulu. You got to watch that. It's hilarious. It's vampires, and it's kind of done like the Office type deal where they're doing a documentary following them around. You'll love it. But anyways, I've taken enough of your time, and I really, really appreciate it. Looking forward to the Crumbs. Recommend your movie. Name off some of your movies that people can watch right now, like on Amazon.
Well, Abigail Hunting is on Amazon right now, and I would love if you check that out. That's probably my favorite of my like performances that's out there. There's one that's coming out like pretty soon called The 13th Cross. I think it's going to go on Amazon as well. And then there's like, that's kind of the features that I'm in, but there's a handful of like short films on YouTube, and there's one called Lumeria. It's on YouTube as like Lumeria proof of concept film, so you can like find it. It's only 4 minutes, but it's like really beautiful, and we're hoping to get funding to do a feature length version of it in the future. And it's very like close to my heart because it's a period piece, and it's about like mental health and stuff like that. I'm basically like playing myself in it. So it's really good. I hope people will check that out too. And but yeah, definitely watch Abigail Hunting if you can, because it is good, and it's on Amazon.
Well, I sure appreciate your time. Thank you. Thank you
for having me. It was fun.
And I appreciate everybody that watches. Tune in to all of our great shows, and please like, comment, share, and subscribe. That's the best way to support the channel. And everyone, take care and see you on the next one.
See you later.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Listen to the Vibes. You can catch us on Buzzsprout or wherever you listen to your favourite podcasts, and on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook at The Vibes Broadcast Network, and on Instagram at The Vibes Broadcast.